Line Show. This is episode 28. After a 6-month hiatus, we are back in business. We are recording. Tonight is Tuesday, September 24th. I'm joined by Chris, Alex, Keith, and Nick from the site. You guys want to say what's up?
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Morning.
So today's going to be a packed show. We've got a lot to talk about. Even on a slow week, it seems like there's always Android news to talk about. So we're going to cover some stuff about KitKat, new Android version that should be out maybe next month. Who knows? Some business happenings with Blackberry and Asus and Acer maybe merging. CyanogenMod is a company now, so we'll be discussing that a little bit, kind of what impact that might have on the Android community in general. Some rumors, Nexus 5 benchmarks, some hardware fixes, software fixes for the Moto X camera, the OPPO N1, which ties back in with CyanogenMod a little bit there, some apps and gaming stuff, so we got a lot to talk about. Let's jump into some Android KitKat 4.4 stuff. There's a rumor now floating around that that's going to be hitting in October, and I know Alex did a big post, kind of what to expect from KitKat. What do you guys think? What do you think is going to be coming?
Alex, tell us what
Everything's coming.
Everything's coming.
Yeah. Well, I want better battery life, of course, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna see more cloud integration. Hopefully, maybe like your app data will be saved into the cloud. So instead of just when you get a new device, all your apps re-download. Hopefully, all the app data would download with it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more Project Butter, but that's going to be in every update from pretty much now on. Of course, there's performance profiles like you see on CyanogenMod and some other ROMs. And there's probably going to be a new Linux kernel, which probably will support 64-bit.
Which we've been hearing a lot about with the new iPhone launch and how big a deal that is. So, even though we can't really do much with it right now.
I think we're going to see a lot of UI changes. Obviously we've seen some screenshots over the weekend, some leaks that came out, and it's already apparent that we're going to start to see some pretty big changes to the UI. And I think this has kind of been something that Matias Duarte has been working on for a long time, and we've kind of seen little tidbits of it coming with the new Google Now and some of the app overhauls and the Play Store that we've seen a lot of it start to trickle out. And I think you're going to see kind of a more of a conformed, unified look to a lighter look versus that darker look that we've seen with gingerbread and ice cream and jelly bean, to a more of a cleaner white interface with a lot more brighter colors. Just basically think of the Play Store with tons of colors, light, white, bright, clean looking, and not as dark. And I think we're going to see, if not completely the Android UI overhauled, a preview to a complete overhaul that's been in works for a while now, actually. I remember back a few years ago, Matthias was saying that he had big plans for the UI from his Palm days. I think he has lots of fresh ideas, and we've started to see it in some of the apps, and I think that this is going to be the time when it's going to start to come out.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit with some rumors of being able to change just the color from from that blue, be able to switch out for red or white, or kind of change the system UI colors a little bit. I don't know if we'll see a big update in the UI this time around, but maybe for 5.0. I don't feel like this is going to be a big change, only because it's going from 4.3 to 4.4. Like, it's a really small jump. But you're right, at some point, maybe for 5.0, they're going to have to refresh the UI. I feel like Android is at this point, pretty mature platform. So seeing big changes will be a big deal. Like when we went from eclair to gingerbread, going from white to dark.
Or gingerbread to ice cream from green
Yeah.
to blue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a big change.
I
When
mean,
Matthias first came over and with Honeycomb and that whole change, Honeycomb obviously was a bit of a flop being just a tablet UI, but it brought about a lot of the visual changes that we see now started with that and with him.
I think you're right what you say, Jeremiah, that it's not going to be right away at once. I mean, if you take a look at the Holo, design and stuff like that, and apps and everything getting updated in certain sections, and Play Store and everything, it all takes time to roll out, because rolling everything out all at once is, for how big it is, it's almost impossible to do it all at once. Where I think it's going to be start to a gradual, kind of going to a Google Now type of feel with everything.
But that's a good point too about being able to roll it out to everything. We've heard a couple different rumors about KitKat fixing the fragmentation, so to speak, like being able to devices that are running as little as 512 megabytes of RAM, being able to install it with the Google Play services and kind of that.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think that they can fix this fragmentation with a new Android update? Because I mean, old phones with 250 kilobytes of RAM are still, or 256 megs of RAM are still
Kilobytes.
Right.
Megabytes of RAM are
G1 wasn't that bad.
Are always going to be devices that are never going to be able to handle it. I don't think you're going to be putting KitKat on a KitKat on G1.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There were people that got CM 10.1 up and running on the G1. So, but you're right. At some point, it doesn't make sense. People are just going to upgrade their devices as opposed to holding on to it and trying to flash a new version of Android onto a really old device.
I think if you have
upgrade.
If you have a G1 and you want KitKat on it, you're living in the past and you need to go down to your local carrier and buy yourself a new phone and splurge for the extra few bucks and treat yourself to some new.
Right, or you just goofing off.
5-year anniversary this week of the G1.
Yeah, 5 whole years, man. It's crazy how long it's been since the Android and the G1. 5 years.
It's crazy how the specs have changed too. Like compare the G1 to the G2.
Yeah.
You got to be specific on the G2 though.
Right, which one?
The LG G2.
The one I just reviewed last weekend.
Yes, not the HTC G2.
How many of you owned the G1?
I did not.
I had the G2.
Yeah. My first Android phone was a OG Droid on Verizon, so.
Yeah, that was mine too. I had the Evo.
Keith was evil. I had the G1 and I had the HTC Magic, just because the HTC G1 died and I ended up with the Magic. But I did have the original OG.
Yep.
Nice job.
So a little bit of not Android news necessarily, but I think it makes a big impact, or can. Blackberry is looking at a buyout by like an investment company that is ready to move in and purchase them for $4.7 billion. Obviously, doesn't have a lot to do with Android, but BlackBerry at one point had like a massive market share, and they were it when you were looking at carrying a smartphone. It's kind of how the mighty have fallen. One of those situations where a lot can change in a very short period of time, and it did. BlackBerry didn't adapt, and now they're looking at being gone. I thought it was really funny though that they announced the BBM for Android and iOS app being released. Didn't happen. Servers got overloaded. Nobody could use it.
Maybe it's because of the sale. Pending sale got it pulled.
Maybe it's because they weren't prepared, like they haven't been prepared for anything else in the last 5 years.
But there's a report that came out today that last week a lot of the BlackBerry execs have sold off their shares before this whole thing happened.
Yeah.
So they saw it coming.
Oh yeah. They knew months ago.
Right.
Yeah, they were in talks to.
While.
What's that?
How long did BlackBerry 10 get delayed? It was a long, long time. That thing was supposed to come out, and it's supposed to come out, and it got delayed.
It was delayed like 10 times.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Nice.
Seemed like it.
Coincided with the
Been
release.
delayed in the past 5 years there.
Yeah.
Well,
They
also,
purchased
if you remember
QNX. Go ahead.
if you remember the original playbook, same thing happened.
Yep.
Yeah, they shipped that
Supposed to
without
get
an email client.
Yeah. You had to tether your BlackBerry to it to get your email on it.
Yeah.
They purchased QNX back in 2011 and announced BB10, and it hit this year. You know, they just were 12 months too late.
Does anyone think they're going to survive this, even though they've been bought out? I mean, just because they're been bought, doesn't mean that they're going to live.
No.
Well, they're turning into a software company pretty much because they're leaving the consumer market.
But their software relies on hardware, and if they're not creating the hardware for it, then they're going to have to license it out to other companies or platforms like Android or
If
iOS.
their software is like BBM was for Android and iOS, no, they're not gonna make it.
That's the
They
problem.
couldn't handle 1 million users.
And I could see them licensing some of the email, the secure stuff for government and corporations, for maybe coming out with compatible software for Android and iOS, so that people could carry an Android device for work, but get their secure, government email or whatever routed through BlackBerry servers. That's been their backbone. That's the only reason they've been in business for the last 24 months. So that could happen, but you're right. I think they get out of the hardware game, and it won't be the BlackBerry that we know currently.
How about they get in the Android game? Then they port their BBM services so that they work flawlessly on Android and run Android on their hardware. Then that way they're
Well, they'll fit in with US carriers.
Right. Right.
Promise an update to the latest version of Android, and then 3 years later forget about it.
I mean, they could fork and they could pull an Amazon, or a new Cyanogen.
They've kind of already done that because they have Android apps running on BlackBerry now.
Yeah, but it's like in a really crappy emulator that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was supposed to be their
happen.
stopgap.
Yeah.
Stop the bleeding, stop the death.
Because isn't it? I think the emulator's like Gingerbread, isn't it, or is it Ice Cream Sandwich?
That I don't remember. Last time when they first rolled it out, it was Gingerbread. They may have updated it.
Yeah.
But as slow as they've been with everything else, they're
I would be surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
When we talk about HTC and those other OEMs being slow, they're nothing compared to BlackBerry.
So moving on a little bit to some other OEMs, Asus and Acer could be merging. They might be talking to merge the two companies. Don't know exactly how that'll look. Which name will be kept, who's going to have a controlling share. But those are two big names specifically in Android tablets. Keith, what are your thoughts on that, man? How's that going to shape up, do you think, if it happens?
I honestly don't know. I love Asus tablets. I love their Transformer line. Acer's come out with a few I'm not that big of a fan of, but I don't know how this is going to turn out. Of course, it's still in the rumor phase right now, but these are two companies that are technically competitors.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're definitely competitors. One's kind of at the higher end. Asus, you would think, is kind of at the higher end of the product making, and Acer's kind of at the low end. So maybe they're going to, Asus is going to do more of the premier high-end stuff. Asus will do more of the entry level. Acer will do more of the entry level budget type of things, and maybe kind of bring together their manufacturing, bring down some costs. Neither of them are really too prominent in the smartphone industry, so maybe they get their heads together there as well. Also maybe try to get together and have more of a presence in the U.S. as well. Who knows? Two big companies with a lot of money behind them. They definitely could do some damage if they did things right.
Yeah, they both said that the PC market, like Windows, is really not making money for them. They're more into like Chromebooks and Android tablets, which I think they both just announced Chromebooks with Haswell chips.
And that was my thought on that too, because they're not just in Android tablets. They're also making laptops. Like it'd be an easy transition for them to crank out some decent Chromebooks.
Because they're doing Windows RT, Chromebooks. I think that's it.
And I want to say at one point they've both dabbled in Linux distros, just a little bit.
Probably a lot like Dell did for a while there with Ubuntu.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Just trying to find new markets because Windows is not really doing it for anybody anymore.
Nope.
Yeah.
At least not as far as in making money.
Yeah.
For these manufacturers. So manufacturers, Motorola with the Moto X, obviously being owned by Google, this is kind of a no-brainer, but they bundled Google Drive, an upgrade if you purchase a Moto X, and I don't know the exact time frame, I'll have to look that up, but they're offering 50 gigs of free Google Drive storage for, I believe, 2 years.
Yeah, I don't think it matters when you bought it. I think you're gonna need claim it once on the device. So if you sell it, the person that buys it from you won't be able to get it, like the Chromebooks work.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay. Yeah, they've been giving away that free drive space for a while now. You got the Chromebook thing, which they gave 100 gigs.
Yep.
And then just last week when they launched Quick Office, they gave away another 10, which I'll have to check and see if they've added it to mine yet. But I'm pretty sure it's still going on.
The Pixel gave you a terabyte.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
So
I had Alex
that's
test
crazy.
that.
Yeah.
And he got
what's funny?
terabyte.
I have 1.25 terabytes.
You don't get anything.
When you buy glass, say again, Keith. Go ahead.
You would think that they'd give you some drive space when you buy glass. No. All your photos get synced with Drive, and it fills up pretty quickly.
You would think so, especially for that $1,600 you shelled out, Keith. That they'd pony up a couple of gigs of cloud space, because it's not exactly like glass comes with some storage, does it? Maybe we could get you
about 10 gigs.
Say that again?
About 10 gigs are on there.
Yeah.
Maybe we could get you a plug-in
than I thought.
or something.
Should be able to transfer Google Drive space. Alex can just send you a little bit. He's got plenty.
That'd be pretty sweet. Well, at least they let you return it for a new one if you break it, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's been cool. Just that they're giving out free space. Obviously, most users don't use a fraction of what they're given, but I got to check and see if my 10 gigs is hit for Quick Office yet.
Because with Google Drive, Google Docs that you create, on the web and stuff, those don't count towards your quota. So.
Right.
I haven't.
It's just
barely
file
use
storage.
any. Mine is mostly all pictures from Google Plus and Gmail storage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you do the full resolution Google Plus backups, that counts towards it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, and those will eat up some space if you use your phone camera quite a bit, or even a little bit. It'll eat up some space. So.
Just take them with very crappy resolution pictures.
QVGA shots from my
with the G1.
Right, yeah, with the G1. 60 kilobyte
Remember to
Yeah.
only use the front-facing camera.
Well, the G1 doesn't have one.
Yeah. So basically,
What
you're
about the
saying
front
don't
facing
take
on the
pictures.
How about some more cutting edge hardware here?
Can't believe it doesn't have a front-facing camera. My God.
Yeah, well, that's
G1?
phone to viewer, right?
Yeah. No, man, it was carriers weren't offering, didn't have any kind of bandwidth to support, Hangouts or Skype or anything to use that front-facing camera.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Well,
remember the iPhone didn't even have video recording until what, the 3GS? So
Yep.
they didn't have a flash until the 4.
yeah,
Yep.
it's pretty amazing to think how far some of that stuff has come. And and we're gonna get the Note 3 next week that records 4K video. Yeah, great.
4K.
I won't even be able to use that for like another 10 years, but whatever.
But it has it, just in case you need it.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can use it, but you won't have a device that can display the full resolution. You're just watching everything in 1080p going, that looks nice.
Yeah, that's
And we
pretty sharp.
Speaking of cutting edge hardware, we'll kind of cross these over just a little bit. But the OPPO N1 was announced with an option to have CyanogenMod pre-installed on it. CyanogenMod now is officially, as of last April, they're a company now. They're a for-profit company that is. They've got investors. They raised $7 million, a little over $7 million. And they are moving full speed ahead with the CyanogenMod ROM to build that out. They've partnered with OPPO as their first hardware partner, so there's going to be options for the N1 to come with either Color OS,
Yep.
or CyanogenMod, which I haven't tried out Color OS. I might go try and find a ROM for that. See if there's anything for the Nexus 4.
There's one on the HTC One.
Is there? Yeah, go play
Yeah.
with it. Just see what it's all about.
Exactly.
It's,
Their UI that was pretty sweet. It kind of reminds me of what we were thinking KitKat or even whatever 5.0 is going to be. Looks
The
it's
Color
all
OS?
white. Yeah, it's all white. I don't know. It's a lot more flat. Looks kind of like a cross between Sense and something else.
Okay, cool.
It's actually really nice. I had it on my OPPO. I'm now running Cyanogen on there.
Nice.
Which OPPO do you have, Keith? Sorry.
I have the Find 5.
Okay.
Basically, what you're telling me is I've been mispronouncing that name for months and months. OPPO, sorry. It's the long one up front.
Keith had some friends or acquaintances from the XDA conference he met up with about that were part of some of that drama earlier this week where I'm not sure if all you guys have read about that weren't included in the Cyanogen corporate plans, and that turned into a bit of some drama that we had reported on this week. Obviously, when you move from everything being kind of user contributed and volunteered to a paid company, the transition isn't going to be smooth, and definitely some feelings were hurt. And the main one there was the camera. Keith, wasn't it?
Yep. Basically, a developer felt that his work wasn't being appreciated, and lots of drama. There's a whole write-up on Android Headlines that points over to his rants on Google+. It's pretty lengthy. But Focal, which is what was the CyanogenMod camera, is now in the Play Store for anybody, even if they're not running CyanogenMod to test. I've played around with it. It's really good.
Definitely depends on the hardware.
True. But any non-Nexus device can officially take photospheres with it.
Yeah, which is huge.
That's always a nice bonus.
I mean, you could technically flash the AOSP camera to a non-Nexus device and have some of that, but it's nice.
It doesn't work for everything anyway. The AOSP thing anyway.
Yep.
Right. So tell us a little bit, Keith, if you've got, you've kind of met some of these guys, and give us a little bit, because my concern, and it's not really a concern, but just the questions surrounding this move for CyanogenMod and what it means for the Android community. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? Just kind of how that might shake out with some of these developers and.
Well, so the camera was just one story. There's been quite a bit of fallout, mainly on xdadevelopers.com and Google Plus from a few other developers. Some of them have been very vocal about the fact that they feel that they were taken advantage of. I'm not sure how this is going to play into Cyanogen's final, their final ROM, but some are even accusing them of purposely handicapping certain features. So that's the biggest concern.
Now with the camera, they pulled that out and they put new code in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basically wrote it right out, and that's probably going to happen more in more elements of CyanogenMod, because obviously when you start, you get into a company and millions of dollars, investors, and all that stuff, and patent troubles. That's where lawsuits can kind of come in, and I know that they changed some of their user agreements and stuff like that. And we always hate to talk about that stuff, but people start getting greedy or people start getting hurt feelings. So there's probably going to be a lot of reworking of the code, I would imagine, in the near future to work out any areas where they could have potential issues. Is that kind of what things are sounding like on XDA?
There has been some talk about changes to possibly get around patents and just some other device-specific items.
Stuff that isn't covered by their agreements that they had with the contributors. So how do you guys feel, though? I mean, let's take it away from the news aspect. How do you guys feel about them kind of going from kind of like from a kind of like a Linux thing to where everyone's contributing for the greater good of ROMing and the community and having fun, to turning this into a for profit type of organization? Especially considering there's lots of other ROM and developers out there that are doing it for free, and these guys have decided they're going to start charging for it.
On the one hand, I feel like this is kind of Steve Condick's baby. Like he kind of started doing this in his spare time and kind of built it from there. So at the core, if he wants to take it and do something else with it, monetize it, that's kind of his, it was his baby. But it grew into something that was bigger than he is. So again, that's where you kind of run into these issues of how do you compensate the people that were involved in the project? How do you get these other developers involved? And I know they are currently hiring out of the developer pool that's worked with them, and device maintainers that have been working on the project for a while. There's not really a way to incorporate everyone, and there's going to be some hurt feelings, and there's going to be some growing pains, and there's going to be a lot of pissed off people in the community that either for philosophical reasons, the project being started out of the AOSP project and being kind of an open source project, people like that collaboration, and aren't going to be happy with the company trying to make money now. You're also going to have people that, like you said, Chris, that are just greedy and want a piece of the pie, and maybe rightfully so feel like they've earned it, and they're not going to get anything out of it. So, like the developer with Focal, he didn't want to relicense the product. He didn't want to change the licensing so that CyanogenMod can continue to use that. So they just cut it out. Is it fair? Not necessarily. I mean, he's able to pull that and put it on the Play Store and hopefully do something else with it. But a lot of developers that worked on underlying kernel source and some of the framework stuff don't have that option. So there's going to be some growing pains.
I see it as more of a positive thing. I mean, it is a shame that they're moving from the open source thing, but I almost feel like we have so many other different ROMs out there, different people who build source. There's a lot of different contributions to the community that are outside of CyanogenMod, and I almost feel like this might be better for Android as a whole, especially if we start getting CyanogenMod on more devices easier, and even like with the N1, how you have the option to include it. Now we're probably going to get people who get updated quicker. You're going to have more features. You're going to have things like that aren't in AOSP, and maybe aren't in the manufacturer skins either.
What do you guys think about their choice to go with OPPO? I mean, Keith has one, and they're great devices, but it's not exactly something you can run out to your local Best Buy or local carrier and grab a device.
I mean, we all saw that coming because OPPO is very open with developers.
Yeah.
They even promote on their site that the Find 5 works with Paranoid Android, AOKP, and CyanogenMod. No other manufacturer does that.
Right.
I think they even gave some. Gave some Find 5s to a few of those developers too.
And also, one thing that most people don't know about OPPO is their bootloaders actually come unlocked.
So again,
you just flash the recovery, which you can download from their site, and then flash whatever ROM you want. So I think it's it's perfect.
Yeah, I would love for OPPO to do better. OPPO. Sorry, I'm going to say it wrong now too.
But they're not going to make it in the U.S. with unlocked bootloaders. Not on carriers.
Well, that's, I think, part of their strategy. They're not dealing with carriers.
Yeah.
I think intentionally, because carriers are going to want to bloat it up, and they're going to want to lock it down. And I really hope it never comes to that.
So I think they just need to maybe get a better online presence, maybe for retail sales in the U.S. Kind of go that way, like I'm not sure if I'm going to say I'm going to murder this Exomni in China, which you guys know Hugo Barrera. That's where he left Google and went to, and they basically and they sell their devices all online, and they have like crazy mad people, buying their devices, like selling like millions, when they launch at just online. So maybe OPPO can go that way.
Yeah, and a lot like I think it's Xiaomi got people's attention with this. When Hugo Barra went over there, I think OPPO got a lot of people's attention with this CyanogenMod deal.
For sure.
Also, OPPO is now selling through Amazon too, which they weren't originally. So it can make it a lot easier for. I mean, it's still not. You're not going to go to a store and pick one up, but it should be a lot easier to get for someone to get a phone from Amazon than it would be to order it from the OPPO Style Store or another source.
We just need them to send us a review device. They actually make us buy the review devices. They give us a little $50 discount if we buy the device. Definitely a different way of distributing review devices.
Right. But I guess they figure we'll give you a discount, but you get to keep the phone or resell it, and then they don't have to worry.
As a prize.
Right. And then they don't have to, but they don't have to eat that cost of a review unit. They're making a sale with that instead. So if they're not as big a company as
the only problem I got with that is that not all companies are going to fork out the money to throw down for a review device.
Right.
So it doesn't distribute the brand name and the phones and get it out to all of the tech blogs and kind of get their name out there with the free marketing, which if you just take a handful of devices and distribute them from large to small blogs, you get that marketing out there where it's kind of free word of mouth.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Then I get to send them to like Alex and you and Nick. Well, not Keith because he's already got one.
I don't have an M1 yet.
Oh man, but yeah, I mean it's honestly I don't know that a 5.9-inch device is something that I haven't tested one out yet. I haven't used anything bigger than a 5-inch device at this point, but I don't know if that would be. I'm pretty happy with the 4.7-inch to 5-inch screen. I feel like it's a good trade-off. But if OPPO released a device similar to the N1 at about a 5-inch screen, I'd be all over it. I'd jump on Amazon and order one, replace my Nexus 4 with it.
I mean, if you're just looking for a 5-inch screen, the Find 5 is definitely not a slouch. Both phones are packing the almost identical specs. Same processor, same amount of RAM, same amount of space.
Does it have that sweet swivel camera, though?
No, but it has a sweet rear camera and a decent camera.
Yeah.
The only other thing you don't get is the touchpad,
which I thought was really cool too.
Which is
on the back.
You guys like the swivel camera? You think you like that idea?
Yeah, I do. I think it's
something
cool.
different.
For sure.
Exactly.
I remember seeing some old audio vlogs. That's how old they are. Mobile phones in early 2000 that used to have a similar swivel camera, but it was kind of built into the hinge of the phone. And customers used to have problems with those phones quite a bit. Of course, it looks like OPPO's quality tested this one, so I'm kind of on the edge about that one.
LG and Samsung had similar concepts. It was, Samsung's always tried like crazy. They had the A900, the phone, like the display flipped, and then you folded it shut and held it like a digital camera.
Yeah, I remember that thing.
Yeah,
LG had a flip phone.
Too.
I think it was a VX7000 that it like rolled. It was built into the hinge, and the camera rolled so you could face it towards yourself. But I think it's a great. I mean, it's an easy way if you're on a Skype call or a Hangout on air to get better quality than 2 megapixels. You know.
Yeah, because I hate using the front-facing camera. I mean, unless it's for Hangouts, which quality doesn't necessarily matter as much. But if you're taking any pictures, forget it. The front camera's terrible on almost every phone, no matter how good it's supposed to be.
Good for blurry selfie pictures. That's it.
I want good selfie pictures.
Exactly.
I don't.
Well, though it is
these photos to look great.
You're trying to take a picture of yourself, though, and if you can't see it, right, because I'm narcissistic like that. And,
that's why you got to do the mirror shot. Hold the camera up right in front of you like that,
But then you're always taking pictures in your bathroom all the time.
Right. Exactly. So, a little more hardware news too. Nexus 5 benchmarks. Saw those leak out, along with all of the other Nexus 5 rumors. But it looks like the Nexus 5 is packing a Snapdragon 800 processor, clocked at about 2.2, 2.3 gigahertz, 1080p screen.
Should be 13 megapixel camera, right? Same, assumedly, as a G2.
With the optical image stabilization, which is cool.
Yep. Exactly.
That's another reason I'm kind of excited about the OPPO N1 is the camera looks really good on that. I'm just ready for a really phenomenal camera on an Android smartphone. It's way past time.
I'm hoping for the Nexus 5 they take the camera from the G2 and put it on there, but I'm not sure if the stock Android software will make it look as good.
That's what I'm worried about. I hate the AOSP camera.
Yeah, the camera on the G2 it's really nice. I think it's probably the best camera on a phone I've used this year. Since I haven't used Note 3 yet.
Could be an enhancement on KitKat. They could bring in additional features to the AOSP camera to make it better.
Certainly could. Didn't we hear rumors like earlier this year? Didn't like one of the guys, I think Paige or somebody, made comment about that the Android cameras are going to get a major upgrade?
Yeah, I think it was think it was Vic. He wanted like the camera on his phone to be as good as his DSLR.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
hopefully it comes soon.
that's one thing where Nexus has really dropped kind of the ball on. You know, they've put out a great product, and then the camera's like kind of like a budget camera on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The Nexus 4 improved that. I don't think the Nexus 4's camera is horrible, but it doesn't really compete with everything else that came out at the same time.
No.
Like, it's just not on the same level.
So, are you guys excited for the new Nexus 5? I'm excited. I plan on buying that device. I'm gonna give it a try. I wasn't too game for the glass back and for the beautiful phone in its own right, but just for me it wasn't there. And I kind of like the look of the new Nexus 5. At least from the preliminary leaked bar shots that we've seen. That just, someone was carrying around a Nexus 5 and decided they were just going to leave it at the bar table while they went to the washroom, so the people at the table, because they knew that they were trustworthy people, they wouldn't steal their phone and they wouldn't take pictures of it while he was gone.
That's a little fishy. I think that was a bit of a setup.
Yeah.
Didn't we hear this story in the past with a Windows mobile phone and a iPhone?
iPhone 4,
We've
I
heard it with
believe.
the Nexus 4 too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is how they do controlled leaks. They, okay, guys, I'm going to go to the washroom now, and I'm putting down this phone that has not been released yet.
Yep.
Don't take a picture of it while I'll be gone for about 11 minutes.
Yeah. And Google and LG spend exactly $0 on marketing or advertising that phone, and it's all over the internet for a week. So it's brilliant.
And it sold out for like 12 weeks on Google Play.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I know. I got one for my wife for Christmas, and then I don't know how that ended up happening. It was freaking luck. I think I ended up buying it like 3 times, and then one of them actually got shipped, so I had to cancel the other 2 orders.
But that created the excitement, though, last year. Everyone was hyped up because they couldn't get a Nexus 4. Everyone was trying to check out, and the Google servers were crashing, and they were sold out here.
Yep.
And F5 keys were dying.
That's it. One day me and Alex spent the day on Google Plus just informing people when they were in stock, how to get it. Oh, they're sold out. And then a couple hours later, oh, there's some more up.
Yeah, I got mine on lunch day, so that was good. I got mine on launch day.
Well, lucky you.
Right.
Does anybody else plan on buying the new Nexus 5?
I probably will.
Yeah.
I thought you were going for an OPPO.
I'm torn between the 5 and the OPPO. I need to see what the 5 comes out.
Yeah, he's going to get both.
Oh, okay. Busted.
Keith?
Busted.
Keith, are you going to be trying out the new Nexus 5?
I need to see what it comes with, but there's a huge possibility.
Keith, you own everything Android. Like, this guy has like glass and like a couple of tablets, 3 phones. You know he's going to buy it. I think he's just trying to put it on.
Well, actually, the next thing I'm going to get is the Sony Smartwatch 2.
Yeah, you think that's where you're going to land with a smartwatch?
Currently, we're a Smartwatch 1.
Okay.
And Smartwatch 2 seems like a logical upgrade. I got to actually play around with it, and it's really nice.
Yeah, I've actually held off on. I almost pulled the trigger on a Pebble when they landed at Best Buy, but I've held off just because I haven't been really impressed.
I don't think Pebble qualifies as a smartwatch, though.
But I mean, it doesn't run apps.
It's like a digital watch that can somehow communicate with a phone.
Just
It's
notifications.
like a digital watch site. You can customize the face of it and stuff.
It's like something you would find in a Chinese knockoff shop or something. No offense, Pebble smartwatch makers.
Yeah. No review unit for you, Chris.
What about Nick? Are you going for the Note 3 or is it the Nexus 5 for you?
Note 3 as soon as I can get it.
Oh my god!
I'm
I gotta ask.
I'm
I
a
gotta
sucker
ask.
for that line.
And just so some Samsung fans know, I have the both the notes, but I want to ask Nick on because he's a note lover. What do you think of the faux leather? I mean, I think it was kind of like a last minute attempt to not get any plastic jokes made towards them, so they went with the leather, case, included just to throw people off so they don't complain about the big plastic look.
I don't know. I'm actually excited about it. I think it makes sense with the line too, because it's a note, which is supposed to replace your notebook or whatever. So why not make it feel like a notebook? And I was thinking the way they described it, without holding it in my own hand, it almost seems like it's what's on the back of the first generation Nexus 7. That I don't know. It feels like faux leather. I'm not sure.
Right.
I think it looks really good too. Like it works with that styling and that brushed metal trim and all that stuff. Which is that actually going to be metal, or is it the same as the S4 where it's still plastic but it just looks like metal?
It's probably plastic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my assumption. But
Fettle. It's called Fettle.
I can always dream. Okay?
It's shamelessly plastic.
Yep. Yes, shamelessly plastic. But Samsung's making moves to do something besides the gross, slimy plastic backing that everybody hates. I shouldn't say everybody. There's a couple people in the world that like that.
And I
Plastic,
correct you, Samsung fans do not hate it.
That's true.
Hey, I hate this crap. Okay, shiny, no good.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it gets pulled out,
shiny.
this thing goes whoa.
Mhm.
Yeah, see, I was worried
it's
about
like a
that
mirror.
too. It's
Like
terrible.
on
try not
the
to-
Mega, it's like a mirror. You can see yourself in it.
Yep.
That's just so you think it's glass.
Yep.
But we got a post up on the site today about Samsung's new Project F devices that are supposed to be launching next spring, and they're apparently working on the brushed metal or some kind of metal chassis similar to the HTC One for the next iteration of the Galaxy S5 and maybe the Note 4 next fall. So they're listening. It just takes some time to work that stuff through development cycles.
What about this new limited edition Note 3 that's supposed to come out with flexible glass they're talking about, right? Supposedly
Yeah.
we're going to see this fall. I don't know.
Those flexible displays were shown off, a lot last January at CES, and we really haven't seen much with them.
Flexible displays like a unicorn. You keep hearing about it, but you never actually see it.
Yep, exactly. And I don't know.
It's pretty bad when Samsung actually, what did they ran a contest or something like that where they were looking for feedback from users on how they could use flexible display. They actually ran. I think it was a contest or a survey where they wanted to get feedback on different ways and types of uses that they could use flexible display. And that something's not working right with the flexible display when they gotta reach out to the users for ideas on it.
Yeah.
They had a perfect opportunity to use it in the watch. That would have been.
Yeah.
At least that would have been, well, it would make a lot more sense than putting it in the note. I mean, I don't see many people folding their note up and putting it in their pocket when they're done, but they could have put it in the watch, but they chose not to.
Right.
Yeah. For me, the flexible display thing, if I am not mistaken, also was part of the whole unbreakable pane. And I thought that was a lot more interesting than necessarily just being able to fold your phone up or whatever they were planning on doing.
Well, that's what
The
I
fact
think.
that I can drop it and not care.
And I think that's what they're trying to do with the Note 3 this fall is Note 3 Active is what the rumors are, is that it's an unbreakable glass, right? So active for people on the go that the phone could potentially get bumped or dropped or something like that. And I think that's really smart what you say, Nick, is that some of these designs that they come out with wavy and stuff like that are impractical. No one's going to be throwing a wavy phone into their pockets.
Right.
Some of the outlandish, crazy designs. But I think finding out where it can become more useful. using it, so it's not so much a breakable or different designs or looks for phones as well too.
Yep. Yep. And that was originally how we had heard it was going to be used, to make these unbreakable displays. But it just hasn't happened yet. Let's kind of move things along here. We may not get to everything on the agenda tonight, so check out the post. We'll actually have this live hangout. We'll get that embedded on the site with some show notes, so you can view that later on if you want to. And we'll have a podcast up now too, Android Headlines podcast. So if we don't get to everything, you can still get access to everything that we had planned to talk about, and stay up to date on all the latest Android news. But a couple things that I wanted to touch on, just because we've been hearing a lot about this recently. The 64-bit processor that Samsung has supposedly almost ready. So the new iPhone is touting a 64-bit processor, which right now can't really do a whole lot with, but and Keith, you might be able to speak to this a little bit better as you've got your hands in the developer community a little bit more, but kind of how that is going to shape up over the next 12 to 24 months is it opens up a lot more, just a lot more opportunity, a lot more things you can do with the OS. Besides just supporting more than 4 gigs of RAM, because we're not a lot of point for that on a phone yet, but
RAM is of course the big thing people talk about, but it's actually a lot more. 64-bit can be a lot more stable, a lot more secure. I think we're not talking about 12 to 24 months till the point where we can actually really take advantage of it. I think we're talking about 3 to 4 years before it will actually be something that is an everyday occurrence for 64-bit processing on mobile devices. I personally think we'll see it in tablets before we see it in phones. That's just the way things are moving to now. Maybe with Android 5.0, we'll start seeing some of that, some applications and some of the Google framework that could take advantage of that. But right now, it's nothing more than a marketing gimmick.
Right.
I certainly agree with that. I mean, you see in computers, 64-bit was the large thing back in the day, but a lot of even the software today on personal computers don't even take use of that. And really, where it's going to start to maybe take use is like what Keith said. When tablets start to is where it's going to be primary. As we start to kind of make that transition from personal computing to mobile computing with our tablets, and we start, putting more heavy-duty software on there for different type of applications, and work-related stuff, and we start to see more, RAM-intensive and more resource-intensive software starting to run on tablets. That's where it'll go. But as far as smartphones, I don't see it really being a whole lot of benefit down the, because I don't really see the productivity on a phone, leaning that way. It's going to be more tablet and software related.
Unless we're talking about a phone like the Ubuntu Edge that never actually made it, where that phone could become a desktop when you plugged it into a dock. That's the only phone take advantage of it.
That's a really great point, because I mean that's where it'd be beautiful to see. We were talking about how Windows is starting to kind of slowly decline, and it would be beautiful to see that we could plug in our smartphones into a docking station that becomes our on our big screen, and we use that for productivity and so on like that. And and you've seen that with Asus now, where you plug your smartphone into your tablet, right? Well, let's take it another step farther and plug our phone into we've seen it with Motorola, where we plug it into a laptop dock, right? Then we're computing with a laptop from our smartphone. So I think the progression is going to eventually move that way, so we can be completely mobile and not be chained to our desktops for productivity.
And some of the higher end smartphones have better specs than the average desktop computer.
That's scary.
Yeah.
It is scary.
When you're
Yeah.
talking about Samsung that's teasing 8-core processors, I mean, not all their phones have them, but 8-core processors, most computers have a dual or even quad-core processor.
Right.
Very
And
few
I mean,
computers actually have an 8-core processor. 2 gigs of RAM is fairly common for desktops, and that's what the average mid to high-end smartphones coming with 2 gigs of RAM. Some are even going up to 3 gigs of RAM.
yeah. And the architecture is completely different, so it's not necessarily a fair comparison to say, an 8-core processor on a phone to a quad-core processor on a desktop. But you're right, like we're getting closer to that point of convergence.
And with more platforms like Steam,
Hmm.
kind of removing some of those architecture dependencies.
Yeah.
I mean, I see in the next 5 years, full convergence could be a thing, and I'd love to see Android 5.0. That would be on my wish list, that's for sure.
You know
Yeah.
what? And you see, obviously this is another conspiracy theorist from Android, but you have, Sundar, the Chrome guy kind of running Android now. So, does he have a long-term vision of what we're talking about right now? I know this is totally, off the chain down the road, but is that where he's looking to build? Is, that Chrome OS, Android computing down the road, towards something as well too?
There have
Well,
been
yeah.
whispers of that for a while, that Chrome
Yeah,
OS and Android were...
ever since they put that Chrome Android statue in at Google's offices.
Yes, exactly. Like, what the
I
heck
think
is
that
that? We
rumor
still don't
will
know.
always be there no matter what. And it's always fun to speculate, especially when you love technology, that one day will happen. So,
Especially when you have the guy in charge of Chrome in charge of Android now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
Yep.
like it's almost inevitable now.
you know that he's pushing somewhere, some type of integration somewhere down the road. There's going to be some forking or a crossroads of it.
I
You know,
mean,
even though
they even have a Chrome conference coming up in November, which I don't remember them having one before.
Even if they just ported some of the framework so that you could get Play Store access in Chrome OS and run these Android apps in Chrome OS, you wouldn't necessarily need to port the whole operating system. But just being able to run Android apps natively, it'd be a done deal. That would be fantastic.
it won't be long before we see it.
It won't. It won't. So we've been on for right about an hour. Alex, talk to us a little bit about the G2, and then we can do some wrap up. Just kind of talk about what's new in our Android
Show it
world.
to us, Alex.
Yeah, your review just went up a couple days ago. So
got the AT&T G2 here. It's a really good phone. I mean, the display. Let's turn up the display is really good. It's kind of bright, but it's 1080p IPS, which is my favorite type of display besides Super AMOLED. Only thing I don't like is all the notification stuff.
That's a heavy notification area.
At least you can get rid of the Q-Slide stuff, though.
right, yeah.
But
you've been bragging about this phone all week long. Well, what do you love about it? I've been hearing you.
Everything. I mean, the only thing I don't like is, well, mostly the notification bar, but the UI, it looks ugly to me. Like, almost worse than TouchWiz. But
have you used any of their mid-range devices, LGs? Like any of the newer ones?
I used the Lucid 2 earlier this year on Verizon.
Is it the same kind of thing?
There's a lot more features in this one, but
well, I mean the look.
Yeah, the UI
looks the looks pretty much the same.
They got that weird Cheyenne color.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
Their launcher is really nice though. Like, you can move the app thing over to the side. You can also change the icon packs without like going to Nova or Apex or anything like that.
Oh,
that's cool. They support that.
Yeah. You can change in the app drawer. You can change it from big icons to smaller icons. So like you can have 4 across, and then you can change it back to. They can do 5 across. The
Nice.
AT&T one has a lot of bloatware though. I think there's like 62 apps pre-installed.
And speaking of which, Carrier IQ.
Carrier IQ with it too.
Yeah.
Verizon, right?
No,
Interesting.
AT&T.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like the
It's
camera
really
on it,
fast.
Alex?
Well, like I said earlier,
Fast.
well, not only is it fast, but it's probably the best one I've used on a phone this year. But I haven't used the Note 3 yet, so I can't say it's better than that one yet. But it's right up there with the S4, and I don't know what other camera was good besides that one, and flagships.
It's probably the best.
No,
I
so
wonder if the optical image stabilization is what really brings it over the top, because I don't even think the Note 3 has that, if I remember correctly.
No, it does it. It's just 4K.
Mm-hmm.
4K all the things.
Yeah, why not?
So super high res, not stable shots.
Yeah, you just need a 4K display on your phone now.
Right. Right.
That's next.
Yeah.
So you're liking this phone a lot, Alex. Is this one of your favorite phones this year to date so far?
It's right up there with the Moto X right now. But the Moto X is like, I don't know, it's pretty small considering the. I mean, they're both like the bezels are almost non-existent. The Moto X just feels nice in the hand to me, and the dimple on the back. Although I keep trying to press it because I'm used to the G2, and I keep trying to double tap the screen on the Moto X too, like the
I
G2.
want somebody to port that knock knock feature
Yeah.
and make it available on the Play Store or an XDA or someplace.
That's my favorite feature.
You
of
know
the
that's
G2.
coming. You know that's coming for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
gonna be the app of the week next week. Some company's coming. I'm gonna go get me some angel investors this weekend. We're gonna have it on the market.
Well, people have already ported the active display.
Yes.
Yeah.
They've already ported the hands-free OK Google now.
Mhm.
I've tried that on my OPPO. It works.
It's a
Okay.
battery drain though, man.
It works really well on the Moto X and the Droid Ultra, although the Droid Ultra is a little bit faster, because I tried it out yesterday, like side by side, both on Wi-Fi. Droid Ultra was actually faster.
Not bad. I threw up an article I think last week where they have a similar feature, sort of similar, for the HTC One. Some guy in XDA made it to where you can like fling your phone, or you can. What was the other one? I don't remember what the other one was. There's two different ones that he has on there, but it's in that same kind of realm of do the knock knock or whatever. But I think the issue was battery life, because the Snapdragon 800 has like a new type of sensor in there that is always basically listening. So
Yeah.
it doesn't wake your CPU up all the time and kill your battery. It's got its own thing. So I would say, I mean, unless you have a Snapdragon 800 phone, you're probably going to get your battery life killed.
With that knock knock feature.
Yeah.
For sure.
That was the same thing with the like touchless controls for the
Yeah.
Moto X and the apps that people to port that. It just demolishes your battery.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
someone
'cause
I think it was Russell Holly on Google Plus. He tried. Well, a lot of people are like, well, you can replicate the Moto X on your HTC One. So he did it to prove a point, and his battery was dead in like 3 hours
Yep.
on Wi-Fi.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, that's what happens. You don't have the right display for that.
Right. Well.
Well,
So-
not just the display, but the processor too.
Yeah.
And before we forget, we got to give away one of these.
Yeah. So what are we giving away, and how are we doing that?
So we have a Galaxy S4 case from Signet. This is actually hand designed, hand painted by an artist.
That's a pretty colorful case you got there, Alex.
Yep. So I guess what we'll do is, what question should we have them answer? Like, what day was the Galaxy S4 announced on?
Gonna do a little bit of trivia. Yeah, that's fine.
Just comment on the live stream on YouTube or on Google Plus, and first person that gets it right gets it. And I'll send you a private message on Google Plus to get your information.
Sweet.
Sounds great. I want that Google S4 case. Well, I don't have a Google. I don't have an S4, but I'll take it.
That's why I have to give it away, because I don't have one.
Limited edition, hand painted too. So go
Yeah.
get it. Go get a free case. So let's talk a little bit of, just kind of wrap up with what's new in your Android world, whether it's an app or a game, or you got a new phone, new case. Keith got a new everything because he always has new stuff. So Nick, let's start with you, man. We'll just run right on down the line. What's new in your Android world?
I am very boring. I don't think I've had anything new on this phone for a while, just because I've been waiting for the Note 3. I think the thing that I pour the most time into, though, is 10 Million. It's a game that I've kind of put out there before, but I always come back to it, and I always try to beat my last score, and maybe eventually I'll hit that 10 million point and break out of this prison. But you know, go check it out on the Play Store. It's the best $2 I've ever spent on Android, and that includes all the crazy live wallpapers I bought.
And you are a live wallpaper addict.
I'm a live wallpaper freak.
So developers, if you want a live wallpaper reviewed, Nick's your man.
Please.
He loves
I
that
can
stuff.
see his email box is going to be filling up tonight.
What about you, Keith, man? What's new in your world?
Well, my Google Glass is being replaced. It should be on its way back to Miami tomorrow.
Good.
They're pre-released, so they've been a little buggy. Put them on Saturday, and it tried to give me laser eye surgery.
Oh, it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, except my eyesight's pretty good.
You installed the app, didn't you, Keith? You installed the home laser surgery
Cataract surgery
on
app.
Google Glass, and you were trying to fix that stigmatization in your right eye, right? Yeah,
Oh, no, it was actually the X-ray vision I tried to install.
But
Uh-oh.
I will say, though, Google Glass was the only device I've never rooted. Not because I can't, it's because I just don't see the need to. So hopefully I'll have those back tomorrow. As far as Android, my device is actually fairly boring. I don't have a whole lot installed, but my latest app I've been playing around with was Add Me Now. Pretty cool app on the Play Store. And I've been meeting a lot of people in person lately throughout the week. It's a really convenient way to exchange information with other people. The more handy
is
starts.
contact info exchanger, or
Yep.
so yeah, talk to us about how is that use NFC? Is it like Bluetooth? How does that connect and share contact cards and stuff?
So I just reset my phone yesterday, but it's hard to see here. But it's basically you set your contact information and you can add them with the phone call. So you just make a quick phone call to them. You can send a text message with your information over to them, and also there is an NFC option as well.
Nice.
Just makes it really easy. It was actually kind of a hit over at the XDA DevCon.
Yeah.
I actually met the developer, a really nice guy, and I've been using it quite a bit lately.
this sounds like an infomercial for him. Did you get paid for that?
Probably.
Keith gets $5 every time he says the app name.
There we go.
Chris, what about you, man? What's new in your Android world?
I've been playing this new cool game called Candy Crush. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. No, just totally. No, I am not a Candy Crushing guy. I tried out Madden 25 this weekend. It had been a while since I picked up a Madden football game. Decided to spend some time playing it just to see how the controls were, and it works pretty good and it's pretty fun. This year it's a free version, where years in past they had charged you for it. Maybe that's why I haven't picked it up in a while. But it's free now, and they hit you with in-app purchases to boost up your players and all kinds of stuff like that. Make you, you can purchase steroids, a big mansion. You can, get a new girlfriend. No, you can boost up,
That's why
better wide receiver, running back, defense, stuff like that, creative plays and so on like that. And it was kind of a fun way to pass the time. And the graphics are, not earth-shattering, but they are pretty good. And been having a lot of fun with that on my Nexus 7. So that's my new little toy since last weekend to playing with.
The real question is, can you get robots that kill each other?
Yeah.
Yes. Mutant
In
League Football.
Madden 25?
Next person. It didn't go well.
Nick just lobbed a joke grenade and it didn't go off.
Hey,
So.
And apparently nobody plays NES games or Genesis games. I can't even remember what system that was on anymore.
That one missed me, but I didn't play that game.
Yeah. Sorry,
Next,
Nick.
next,
It's okay.
next.
Okay, we'll take the
Alex.
focus off of Nick. 'Cause
Alex, bail him out, man. What's new in your world?
Well, I've been playing Madden 25 also, but there's not much else other than just hardware for me.
Yeah.
I
He's
mean,
been too busy reviewing phones. You know what, Alex? You should talk about quickly. I wanted to ask him. He was playing with the Blue. You guys know what the Blue is? The company that makes smartphones. And
Yeah, this one.
they're really cheap, about $200 or so. For
this one is spec-wise, it's about the same as the Nexus 4. 4.7-inch display, 720p. It's a quad-core MediaTek chip, 8-megapixel camera. There is a SD card slot, but it's only 4 gigs of storage inside. It's actually pretty good for under $200.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with. The specs wise. If you need a cheap phone or
They
stuff.
also have one that's like a 5.7-inch display. I think that's like $250.
But that's huge. That's if you need a cheap phone, you break your phone, you don't have, but maybe a couple $100. You want to give one to your, your kids or something that don't necessarily need high-end stuff, man. That's perfect.
Yeah.
They also send out a silicone case and screen protector to go with it.
And they come in like all kinds of crazy colors too, don't they? Like they have like five.
This one's yellow. They have it in like blue, pink, I think green, some other colors.
And they're an American company too, aren't they, Alex?
Yeah, Miami.
There we go. Keith's gonna go visit them soon.
At least that's where
Get
that
a
one came
tour
from.
of the plant.
Hey, I'll go pop by.
Yeah. So, that's Blue, BLU.
Yep.
LU.
And I also have the Huawei.
What's the name of
FM
that device,
26.
Alex? Sorry.
The Life Play.
The Life Play, for those of you at home that want to check it out.
It's on Amazon. I think it's like $198, $199 right now.
That's great.
Not bad.
Then I also have the Huawei SN-P6 that I still have to review. It looks kind of like an iPhone on the back and the sides.
Yeah.
It's really thin. I don't know. It's actually thinner than the Droid Ultra.
That seems to be Huawei's thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Droid Ultra is still the thinnest 4G LTE one because the P6 is only HSP plus
Right.
because it's unlocked.
The Sony Z2 is also extremely thin.
So,
Z1. Whoa.
so Nick, was that
Well,
just, was
the
that,
Z2 is rumored too.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to that. Go over to Android headlines and check that out, man. The Z2's already rumors are dropping that that's gonna hit next spring, and the Z1 is available.
I think today.
Yeah, I was gonna say the end of September, so it should be any time if it's not out as of today.
So
can-
it'll be here next year, right?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see it
next
here in the
April's
States in
where-
about a year.
Yeah.
We get Sony
Sony's
phones a year
quick
later.
like that in the US.
No, Sony just doesn't want to deal with the BS wireless carrier model here in the States.
Well, if not to give a rant, but if that be true, wouldn't they maybe make their phones available online and not charge $1,000 for them?
That'd be
buy
awesome.
them unlocked.
The
They charge
ZL
the
launched.
Prices.
The Xperia ZL launched here unlocked for like $750, I think.
Yeah.
What do they want?
Not
Like
even-
a grand for the Z1?
Yeah, I think it was like $860, $900.
I could I could buy a lot of Nexus devices for the price of one of their phones.
Yeah, a couple of phones and a couple of tablets.
Exactly.
You could buy the whole Nexus family.
Yep.
There you go.
Well, I've been playing. It sounds like everything new in our Android world right now is just games. I've been playing Dumb Ways to Die, which apparently was an iOS game for a while. I'd never heard of it until last week. But it's kind of a puzzle game where you're just like a little character and you have to quickly, there's a timer, do puzzles, tap the screen real fast to run, spell a word very quickly, tap the screen in a certain place to avoid getting eaten by a bear, just avoid killing your little avatar. Again, just stupid fun.
This looks like a very interesting WarioWare style game.
What's that?
WarioWare, another game that apparently nobody has played.
No, see, you need to, yeah.
Nick,
I'm in the
Nick
wrong
knows
company
all
here,
the
man.
games that no one's ever played.
Yes, we need to get Nick on some of the gaming stuff, man. That's sorry, Nick.
Oh man,
Not in the right company for that.
I'm a sad panda tonight.
You're holding it down for Android gamers across the world.
We'll bring on Justin, our gaming guru, next week, so he
There you go.
will know exactly.
Yep. So you have somebody to talk to. I also play a lot of fantasy football, so I've been in the ESPN and NFL.com fantasy football apps. ESPN, thumbs up. Got a good app. NFL.com, not so much. Tighten that up, man. The NFL.com fantasy app is basically an HTML5 version of their mobile site. It's poop. So.
Sounds excellent.
Yes.
What's the point?
I mean, it gets the job done if I need to, quick roster change at 12 o'clock on Sunday or something, but it's buggy. So, but yeah, anything else you guys want to hit? I think we're about wrapped up. Good to
I
go.
got nothing else to say, but thanks a lot to Jeremiah and to Nick, our new host of the AH show that'll be here every week with Alex. And thank you, Keith, for dropping in. And I'll be dropping in and out of the show periodically when I can. And it was fun hanging out with you guys and all the viewers as well, too.
Yeah, it's going to be good times. Nick and I will be running the show, and Alex will be with us most weeks. We'll be cycling through writers and contributors at Android Headlines just to keep, fresh opinions and bringing you the latest news and rumors. So this was the Android Headlines Show, episode 28. You can find us on Twitter at Android Headline. We're with no S. We're on Google+, Facebook, wherever you happen to be. That's where we are, bringing you the latest Android news. So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Have a good one.